Hello there. So, itong video na to para sa series na Reality in Business. So, the topic natin is, about the clamor for increases in salaries and wages. So, merong mga grupo or party list or maybe lawmakers who are trying to, propose a bill that would increase the, minimum wage or the salaries and wages of a particular group. Okay. I think most of the time mga naririnig natin salary of teachers, ganyan. Mostly people who are working in the government. Okay, but let's talk about the reality in business. Bakit ba sa tuwing merong mga ganyang balita, mga grupo na nag-request ng increase in salaries and wages, bakit normally hindi siya natutulog? Okay? Whenever I hear news or articles about this, tapos merong, di ba, it kind of stirs up the people or the public. And they do comment on it. And karamihan, of course, they're like, yes, sana mapasa yan, sana ibigay na nila, sana nga tumaas ang sweldo natin, right? But the reality of it is that it's actually hard for it to be a reality. Most of the time, it would be declined. Okay, so we're going to discuss why that is the case. Okay, so una sa lahat, hindi kasi ganun basta-basta. Hindi porke, mga tao siniisip nila na kulang yung kanilang sweldo para punuan yung kanilang mga pangangailangan. And that's why they are asking for the increase in salaries and wages, right? But maraming factors, of course, na tinitake into account before pagbigyan niyang ganyan. And normally, if you notice, historically, kapag merong increases in the minimum wage, napakaliit na halaga lang. But of course, it's a daily amount, okay? But in a way, titingnan ng tao, parang napakaliit na bagay pa rin, okay? But here's the deal, okay? Two perspective, we have the employee and the employer. On the part of the employee, let's say, 1,000 per month na increase in your salary. Maliit na bagay on the part of the employee, di ba? Ano bang mabibili ng increase na 1,000? Siguro mga konti na lang, isang sakong bigas na para sa isang buwan. Okay? In a way, parang maliit na bagay pa lang siya. Okay? But on the perspective of the management or the employer, malaking halaga yan. Okay? 1,000 sa 12 buwan, tapos may 13th month pa, di ba? Kung yan ay ilalagay sa salaries and wages. Tapos, of course, may corresponding na increase din sa employer share in the mandatory contributions. Tapos, ilan kayo na employee nitong company na to? Okay, let's say merong 100 employee yung company, the increase would eventually translate to millions in pesos. Malaking halaga, okay? And, budget-wise, maaring hindi nila kaya or maaring hindi nila kayanin. And kapag hindi nila kinaya, some of the, resorts or alternatives that they have is to lay off some of their workers, which is, going to be a bad thing. Or they can negotiate with their existing employees, but still, andun yung minsan kasi, di ba, yung we have self-interest din na minsan hindi tayo nagiging open-minded. Minsan nagiging close-minded. Kasi meron tayong pangangailangan And minsan yun lang yung nagiging focus ng tao. So, hindi rin nila maintindihan kung bakit, i-decline ng management or bakit hindi maibigay ng management. Sometimes, ang tinitingnan lang nila is yung gusto nilang makita. Like, malaki naman yung company, marami namang pera, marami namang customers, pero hindi nila nakikita or hindi nila naiintindihan na marami ring ginagastos or marami ring pinagkakagastosan yung company. Okay? So, all in all, it's either hindi talaga kaya. Okay? Most of the time, hindi talaga kaya din. Okay? Even by huge companies. Right? Kasi, malaking halaga siya kung, all employees. Pero syempre, kung isang employee lang yan, maliit lang talaga ng halaga. Pero syempre, lahat na naman, malaking halaga na nagiging, eventual budget needed for that. Okay? Okay, that's one. Another thing is that inflation. Okay, economics ulit tayo. So, di ba, supply and demand. And then, on the other part, ng supply and demand, meron kasi tayong, tawag dito, income for consumption. Or kapag tumaas kasi yung sweldo ng mga tao, so ang tingin ng, economy, ng businesses, is that these people would have extra money to spend on goods and services. Okay? At dahil may extra money sila, in a way, magkakaroon ng increase in demand for goods and services. Kasi meron silang extra money na pwede nilang gastusin pambili ng mga pangangailangan nila. At kapag tumaas ang demand, 'di ba, sa goods and services, ano yung mangyayari sa prices? Tataas din. Okay? So, yung pagtaas niya ng prices, if the increase in salaries and wages would eventually translate to increases din naman in the prices of goods and services, edi parang wala lang din. Okay? Tapos, ang iniingatan din kasi ng ating, economist is that yung magiging increase in salaries and wages, kailangan hindi siya malampasan ng increase in the inflation rate. Okay? One of the things na binabantayan ng ating government or economist or BSP is the inflation rate or yung pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin. Okay? And of course, during the times na nagkakaroon ng increase in wages, binabantayan nila talaga yon na sinisiguro nila na yung increase in the inflation rate would not overtake or hindi niya malampasan yung increase na nangyari doon sa salaries and wages. Kasi kapag malampasan niya, parang wala lang, parang kukulangin pa nga yung naging increase sa salaries and wages mo kung yung magiging pagtaas naman ng mga presyo ng bilihin ay mas malaki. Okay? So, in a way, yun yung isang bagay na iniiwasan. Kasi pag tinasan mo yung salaries and wages, normally may kaakibat din na pagtaas ng goods and services. Okay? At pag nagtaas yung goods and services, edi, parang nag-full circle lang, umikot lang. Parang yung purchasing power of money, ganun pa din. Parang walang nagbago naman. Okay? So, yung, essentially, kumbaga, kung iisipin mo, parang walang naging benefit yung pag-increase ng salaries and wages. Tumaas lang yung, valuation ng salaries and wages, pero tumaas din naman yung prices of goods and services. So, yes. Okay? Tapos yung another thing, if we're going to look at it from the perspective ng education, private education, di ba? Kasi I think yung last article na nabasa ko is ACT party list or, group of teachers. They're asking for salary increase. Okay? But the problem with that is that syempre, tinitingnan kasi natin consequences. And one of the things din naman na tinitingnan ng ating mga lawmakers is the consequences. Okay? So, ano ba magiging consequences pag tinaasan na naman ang sweldo ng mga teachers? Hindi naman sa against ako sa pagtaas ng sweldo ng mga teachers. Deserve naman nila yon. Pero, ang mangyayari kasi, mapag-iiwanan yung mga teachers in the private sector. At marami ng private schools ang hindi talaga makasabay sa level of compensation na binibigay sa government. Maraming teachers in the private sector ang, tawag nila exodus, lumilipat talaga sa private, sa government or sa public schools kasi mas malaki yung magiging sweldo nila doon. Okay? And one of the, perpetuating problems na kinakaharap ng private schools is yung paghahanap ng teachers na magtuturo sa kanila. Okay? When it comes to private education or, academe, tapos private, talagang walang pera. Masyado. Pag nagturo ka, maliit lang talaga yung kikitain mo. Okay? But, of course, there would still be people who would prefer to work in the private sector or in the private schools kasi normally, of course, maganda yung facilities, mga amenities, and normally yung class size is very manageable compared mo sa public schools na talagang punong-puno ang classrooms. Although, of course, currently, iba yung situation natin since we're under flexible learning, ang ating mga estudyante ay online or naka-modules. Okay? So, ayun. So, in a way, yun nga, tinitingnan din ng mga lawmakers natin, hindi talaga makakasabay ang private sector. And we do not want to kill the private sector. Hindi naman pwedeng pabayaan natin. Hindi pwedeng, kumbaga, hindi natin pwedeng bigyan ng mas malaking problema itong private sector. Okay? Ang nangyayari din naman kasi kapag nagkakaroon ng increase in the public schools, of course, yung mga teachers or mga employees nitong private schools, nagre-request din ng increase. And again, yung example natin kanina, baka hindi kaya ng mga employers or nitong mga companies. Okay, regardless of how big they are or how much or how many students that they have. Kasi nga, nakikita lang ng tao yung, dami ng estudyante, dami ng perang pumapasok, pero yung perang lumalabas, hindi nila halos nakikita. Kasi ang nakikita lang nila, yung natatanggap lang nila na pera. Okay. So, ayun. Ano pa? Comments siguro. I think, I don't know, hindi rin naman kasi kaya ng government na, i-subsidize ang lahat ng private school. Kasi marami din naman ang private schools nationwide. So, in a way, the government does provide, certain amounts for the subsidies sa mga students and mga teachers. But for the most part, marami pa rin mas malaki pa rin syempre yung percentage ng mga estudyante na sariling bayad talaga ng tuition and other school fees. So, ayun. And okay lang naman siya kung, can afford naman talaga ng estudyante or ng family nila. But, to be honest, marami din kasing estudyante talaga na nasa private school na, parang pinagpupursige lang din ng mga magulang. Kasi in a way, yun nga, mas nakakapag-focus kasi yung teachers in private schools sa kanilang mga estudyante. Kaya minsan, mas maganda rin naman yung turo sa private schools. But of course, we always have exemptions din, ganyan. There's a lot of other factors pa rin naman. Okay? So I think for now, yun lang yung gusto kong i-discuss about, clamor for increase in salaries and wages. And ano ba yung reality na nangyayari in, the industry. So, ayun lang for this one. Thanks and bye.